Welcome everybody to Team Call. It is February 6th. I feel like just like a day ago it was Friday and it's already Tuesday. I feel like this month is already flying by. And tonight we are going to be talking about how to be a good storyteller and some different other little Instagram tips, and kind of really giving you guys a kind of outline to really figure out, okay, how do I storytell? Because we know the idea of storytelling, but I'm really going to get into it a little bit more. So I want to share my screen with you really quick. All right. Okay. Let it load. All right, we are good. Okay, so again, a reminder, Danielle, shout out to you, girlfriend, for sending me your testimonial. I have 2 testimonials now. So if you want to be a part of the Confidence Squad success stories booklet that we make, I really would like to get it done by February or by the end of February so we can really use it to our advantage. The longer we wait, the less we get to use it to our advantage, and that is something that speaks volumes. If you're hearing the word no, you don't share your testimonial, it's you help the team out, the team helps you out. It's just all something that's going to be really beneficial. So announcement, Team Cup is officially on. Make sure you set your goals, reverse engineer them. If you don't know how to do that, reach out to your upline. We will help you. I know all of you guys are probably already in some kind of thread or push group or something for Team Cup. So make sure, excuse me, that you are set up and you figure out exactly what you want to do and you write it, every single day. For me, I write, I have my goals for Team Cup, but like even just my goal for my next 12 weeks is to be a 6-star diamond. So I write every morning, not that I want to be a 6-star diamond. I turn my goal into an affirmation and I just say every morning at the top of my planner, every morning. And this is the first time in 5 years of coaching I've ever done that. And it just feels good. But I write, I am a 6-star diamond coach. So doing things like that is super important. Also, I recommend trying to aim to hit Success Club each week. It's Team Cup. You want to go for big. And I know that might be like, oh my gosh, we tried to aim for Success Club at the end of the month. But I'm not saying you have to hit it, but you want to aim for it. Try to make sure that you're reaching out to that many people. Because if you hit Success Club each week, you're going to be rocking it by the end of the month. Also, make sure you check the calendar. Sorry, this didn't change. Sometimes when I save my Canva graphics, they don't change like the wording, but anyway. But what I was saying was to just check the calendar for power hours. The calendar is pinned to the top of the page, and I've scheduled multiple power hours throughout this month. There's one on Thursday. I believe there's one. Maybe I don't even know. There's like one on a random Wednesday, one on a Friday at like 1 p.m. I just did those random power hours. So if you know that they're on the schedule and you can make it, put it on your to-do list. It's just going to be like a study hall where you go and you know that you're going to sit down and you're going to get stuff done. I can help you with like your conversations and things like that, but it's really not anything that I'm going to be teaching. It's just going to be us doing our work. In case you haven't heard yet, during February, there's $10 off every challenge pack. So the all access challenge pack is actually $50. All of the bundles for 80 Day Obsession are $10 off. So make sure you're letting people know that this is a perfect way to follow up with people from the last month and let them know, hey, I know that you said you were interested in joining my group last month and it wasn't the right time. Just wanted to let you know, just in case. We're actually offering $10 off of the challenge pack that you wanted to grab, so you can get it for a little bit cheaper, but it's only for February. So let me know if you're still interested. Great way to follow up with people. Also, I am doing a brand new Google Streak webinar on February 17th from 10:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. Put it in your calendar if you are interested in checking that out. There's lots of new things I've been doing, so I'm going to be updating and deleting the old Google Streak webinar and creating this new one because there's a lot of things that I don't do that I used to do, and just, and you don't have to get it on if you already kind of have Google Streak on lockdown. But if you want a little bit of a refresher, it's going to be really good to check that out. Also, if you haven't heard yet, the new Coach 7-Day Quick Start is up and running. We also have the first week of the 21-Day Coach Training. So if you're in 7-Day Quick Start, you must finish the 7-Day Quick Start. We are not including a link to the 21-Day Coach training in the team page at all whatsoever. If you want that training, you have to complete the 7 days. We're just making that, a non-negotiable, for people who new coaches, you have to kind of get that base level of understanding of the business before you go to that 21-day coach training. The 21-day coach training link is in the 7th day of the 7-day quick start. So make sure that you finish all the things, finish all the homework before you go to the 21-day coach training. Also, this was an idea. I don't know if it was Danny or Danielle, but one of you guys, I think it was Danny, said that there's a coach that she has her team do this like 100 invite blast thing once a month. So you're not, you can still send out your normal invites all month long, but so I wanted to kind of just start small and just, sometime this week, I want you to try to send out 50 invites, especially because it's team comp. Because what she does with her team is she has like her team just send out like 100 invites and then just goes about the month the same way they normally would. But could you imagine what success you could see if just one day, not like you were doing it, 75 times in a month, but one day, once a month, you send out a crap ton of invites on top of what you're already doing. You would no doubtably always hit success level. I could almost say that's a guarantee. So doing something like that is really, really, really awesome. All right, shout out to everybody, Jenny, I almost called you Jenny. Jenny and Danielle for already being on the board, and it's only the 6th. You guys rock. And then we already have a ton of people on the board, again, with it only being the 6th. This is a short month, though, so make sure you are aware of that. Even though it's 2 days, that definitely, technically it could be it's 3 days shorter than the last month. So that makes a huge difference. So make sure you are aware of that and you are on top of your goals. Do not wait till the 27th to push for Success Club. Shout out to everybody on the board. I like that we have people in the 800 club. For some reason, there's always people missing from that. And then Jenny is rocking it. Still pretty new coach and high up there in the 1,000 club in our PV for this week. And everybody that is right on the cusp of hitting 500. Keep pushing, guys. You guys are rocking it. And then I'm going to share this in the team page, but the product of the month for February is going to be the Shakeology Digestive Health Boost. If you haven't heard about it, it is a boost that you can add to your Shakeology or any shake. So for you guys, you're going to be adding it to your Shakeology. But if you have customers, I always use this. If somebody does not want Shakeology, they're just not about it and they don't even want to try it, I always let them know, like, we have these boosts, like if you want to add it to your own protein shake, obviously, it's best to add it to Shakeology, but they can still add it to their own protein shake. So you can get somebody. I have a girl, Mandy, who's on our team right now. She started by getting digestive health boosts from me, and now she's in my 80-day obsession test group and is a coach on the team. So she started with this product. So make sure you're talking about these things. It's as a blend of some superfoods like flaxseed, chia seed, that really helps your digestion and makes you more regular. But the thing I personally love about digestive health is it makes your shake so creamy. It is insane. It tastes like the thickest like diner restaurant milkshake. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So just like last time with Energize, I know Cassie won the prize, but whoever purchases it for this month, shares a screenshot in the caption when I share it in the team page, I will give you an entire extra tub of this for you to use for yourself, give away sample, I don't know, whatever you want to do, but I'm going to be giving that away to anybody who purchases that. And then that's it. So let's talk about how to be a great storyteller and some other Instagram tips. So what we're going to talk about, we're talking about what is storytelling, why is it important, kind of the how. I'm going to talk about some structures in terms of how, like the ways that you can storytell. Obviously, I'm going to teach you how, but there's kind of structures, and it's kind of what people use in playwriting, and it's going to be how you can kind of use it, whether it's in your captions or going Facebook Live, to kind of add some spice to your posts. And then just some random little Instagram tips to get your engagement up. Some stuff we've already talked about for the new coaches, and then some new stuff that I've been doing to just kind of help, anything. With the algorithm, it's really hard to beat it, but there are some things that you can do that you can work around the algorithm no matter what the algorithm is for Instagram. So, okay. So what is a storyteller? So storytelling engages. Being a great storyteller on social media means that you're bringing something to the table not everybody does. There's a lot of white noise out there. People are just posting their fitness and posting their nutrition, and there is so much of that. That doesn't mean that you can't share that, but you have to make sure that you're breadcrumbing and adding some storytelling things in there. You want to make people want to come to your page. You really have to look at your post and say, am I just throwing this up here? Is somebody really going to want to look at my page and be like, this is great? Or are they just going to scroll right past it and not even bother following me or liking anything? And it's not about being the most interesting person in the entire planet or having the coolest life. Like, I know I always use her as an example, but Amy Silverman, she has, I'm sure she has her own struggles, but she has a pretty cool life and she's worked hard to get there, but she lives in a tropical place. She's on the beach. She goes scuba diving. She does all these fun things. She works from home. But you don't have to be where Amy Silverman is right now to be successful. When she started, she was a server in a restaurant and was living just the normal life. So don't feel like you have to be the most interesting person ever to storytell. You can storytell even if you are a stay-at-home mom who feels like they don't have to do anything interesting whatsoever. There's always interesting things. It's about connecting with people, and that's what we're going to focus on. It also helps to build personality and create a connection with those you're following or those that are following you. And the thing about storytelling, that's not only good for your audience, but it makes you more confident and better at your social media. In the beginning of my social media, I was terrible and I got better as it went on, but it's because I forced myself to figure out how I could storytell. And I'm going to share some questions at the end that you can ask yourself before you post something to figure out, is this storytelling or am I just throwing this up there? So ask yourself, are your posts just thrown up? I look at your guys' social media so often. And I see a lot of times that I can tell that a post was just thrown up there just to get it in. And yes, I would say about 3 or 4 years ago, social media, especially with like the Beachbody business, was just about posting as many times as you can. The more you post, the more your stuff got seen. But that's not how social media works anymore. Which brings me to my next point. Social media really has changed. It's no longer just simply posting to post. Algorithms are different. So it's actually better to post only like 1 to 2 times a day. Now, this is more so for Instagram. Facebook, I don't even know about Facebook. Like Facebook algorithm still confuses me there. It confuses me in both, but it's always constantly changing. But I try to not, post like 75 times on any platform. Another thing you want to make sure you're doing is, and this has nothing to do with storytelling, but make sure that you spread out your posts. If you just posted about your clean eating group and then you ask a question on Facebook to, boost your affinity score by just asking, what's your favorite Super Bowl food? But you just posted that the clean eating group thing an hour ago, Facebook is not going to show that thing to anybody. It does not like when you post right after one another. So I will post maybe once in the morning and maybe at night and like really spread it out. But when you post, I find if I post like right on top of each other, the second post gets absolutely no engagement, like zero, like literally zero. It will also, before I talk about the next part, is you want to make sure you guys are using your stories for more content, because you're only really posting 1 to 2 times a day, which means that you can put more thought and time into a post. Sometimes, and back in the day, this was like a no-no, and now it's more of like a yes. It can take me up to 20 to 30 minutes to make a post for social media. That's more so because I'm editing the caption and doing things like that. Now, you don't have to take that long. I do this full time, and I probably should maybe be taking that long. But before it was like, take maybe 5 minutes to make your post. But now you do want to spend a little bit of extra time figuring out, how you can storytell to make it good. But use your stories to share the more random stuff and share more content. There's a lot of white noise, and everything is a copy of a copy. In this industry and in marketing and in social media, anything that you post isn't something that hasn't already been posted. Everybody's just copying each other, which is fine. But that doesn't mean that you can't reinvent and continue to share you. I have shared about my eating disorder, about other things that I've struggled with in the past multiple times, but I always try to find a new way and a new spin on it, or how I'm dealing with it today, or new things that I've learned. So you can keep sharing stuff, and you can share your workout videos, even though there's thousands of workout videos, and you can share your food, but always try to find a way to either tell a story or to make it I don't know the word I'm thinking, but valuable, I guess. And now not every single post is ever, always going to be right on the mark. And I'm going to share some posts that I've shared in the past that really haven't hit the mark, and some that have. And not every post is going to be absolutely perfect. Oh my God. And I don't want you to think that the post has to be perfect. As long as you're just sharing you, that's really what's important. So I want you guys to type in the chat box really quick before I continue. Name a person that you can think of on your that you follow on social media right now, that you like, who comes up in your head when you think of, oh my gosh, I love their social media? I really want you to type in the chat box. Like think of somebody who maybe you follow, you check out their Instagram stories, or you really like their posts. Maybe it's another coach. Maybe it's somebody who like, it just like, you're like, oh my God, I just cannot wait. Like maybe you even have their post notifications on. I know I usually don't. Where is that? Let me check. There we go. I can't grab it. Sorry, this thing is in the way. Jatana Jackson. Yeah, she's not my cup of tea in terms of like my vibe. Like she's like super girly. Like there's nothing wrong with it, but like not my vibe. But I see why people like her because she has that like energy about her. Beautiful Feel Fit. I've never heard of her. Rita Odell. Yes, I love her too. Mama Eats Plants. I've never heard of her. Megan Sayani. Oh my gosh. Yes. She's my success partner. I love her. Oh wait, Danielle, back to your question, not to go off topic. But worth one success club point is, I think it's the performance line. There's something I can't think, but there are things that are worth one success club point. I forgot that it was something, but I would look at the FAQ because I cannot think off the top of my head. But those people that you think of right off. Oh, Cassandra, that's key. You said Brooke. Yeah, Brooke's awesome. Love her. I love her and her adorable little child. But those people that you think of, Glitters and Lasers, I actually think of her too, or I think I've heard of her too. But those people that pop up in your head, you want to be that for someone. Again, it doesn't mean that you have to be the most interesting person in the entire world, but you want to create that kind of content that you just want to read more about their life. Not that, again, not that it's the most interesting thing in the world, but that there's just something about them. So why? This is because without this, no one is going to bother to scroll and stop at your content. We live in a scroll, or not scroll, stop, scroll, double tap world, but people don't even really look at things. I've messaged people before about liking my picture and they're like, I didn't even know I liked it. People in New York is a great example of how you can make a post that might even have, because their posts, especially on Facebook, have a lot like a big caption, but people stop and they have really great engagement on their posts because they tell like that their page is all about telling a story of the people of New York. So people stop and read that content because it's interesting. So setting yourself apart from the rest by figuring out how you can share whatever it is that you want to share. And if you are a brand new coach, you will learn how to figure out what it is you want to share. When I was a brand new coach, I didn't really know what I wanted to share. All I was sharing my journey and sharing the ups and the downs and the struggles. And that's bringing me on my next point. Being vulnerable is going to be the biggest part of you sharing your story. You can't really tell a good story without sharing the good stuff and the bad stuff. People want to connect with, your story. Being relatable and not, relatable and vulnerable. So when you're sharing those tough times, people are like, oh my God, yes, that is so me. So if you're being afraid of being vulnerable, that is stopping you from sharing your story. And I know that there's still more that people have to give, that they're just sharing what they think is vulnerable, but there's always stuff you can dig deeper on. And it's not that you had to have this terrible childhood or something bad happened to you. Cause I feel like a lot of coaches think that they have to have that, or, I've had coaches, tell me, well, I do have somewhat of a story. I've been homeless. I had eating disorders. I was in an emotionally abusive relationship. You don't have to have those crazy things happen in order for you to just tell your story. You can just tell your story of how you've got to where you've gotten, because someone is going to relate with that. When you don't tell your story, you really have to ask yourself, how is someone going to connect with you? And you have to figure out ways to reinvent that. Now, I can tell you that, but I can't tell you exactly how to do that without necessarily working with you one-on-one. You have to put that thought into it. And if you're not putting in a lot of time and effort into your posts, then you're probably not going to get that, figure out what that is. So you have to make sure you're kind of spending that time to think about whatever it is that you want to share. Okay, so how? Number one, you want to hook your audience. You want to make them say, oh, I wonder what's going to happen next. So starting your Facebook Live, your Instagram caption as like, I will never forget the time that, or you will never believe what just happened, or true story. People make fun of those that like use the, what is it called? Clickbait tags, but they work. Clickbait works. So doing things like that, and you never want to lie. Clickbait a lot of times does mean that people are like lying about what it is. You don't want to lie. But instead of just starting the caption, just kind of like talking as you normally would, make sure that I always, when I make my posts, think about what my first line is. Because as you guys know, or maybe don't know, when you go on Instagram and you like are scrolling, you have to click see more to see the whole caption a lot of the time if you're on the regular feed. So your first sentence is all some people see sometimes. I know for me, I read that first sentence. And if it's not interesting, I don't bother clicking see more. So and there's lots more than just these. And again, if you're just sharing your workout video, I still try to find a way to tell some kind of story, but sometimes I'm not always able to. So it's not, you don't have to feel like every single time you share something that you have to do that, but you do want to do that for the most part. So for your Instagram or Facebook, you want to start out the caption with something good. Like I said, they can only see so many lines. Also make sure you're spacing out your paragraphs. This makes people read more. It is a psychological thing, but if you just put one big paragraph, it's going to make it difficult it's going to make people less likely to read. I always get this question. How do you space out your things? You have to, and I've told so many people this, and they say they do it, and then it says it doesn't work, and then I've tried it on their phones, and I get it to work. So I don't know what I'm doing that's not good at explaining, but I'll try. But you type, hit return on your keyboard, type a period. Hit return again, type a period, and then hit return again. So there needs to be 2 periods, or you could do 1 period, whatever you want, or you can do an emoji, like whatever it is that takes place in that period. That's what spaces out your paragraphs. But you have to put something there. You can't just put a return space. You have to actually put a period or something like that. That's going to get people more likely to read. And then if you're live, start off, you can say, tell people to say hi, so they comment, which increases your engagement, which increases your affinity score, which pushes it out to the people's feeds. And we're going to talk about this at the very end, but you want to kind of say something that leaves them hanging and wants more. Whatever you're going to talk about, even if it's something like you're going to talk about this chicken that you made, or you're going to talk about your challenge group, say something that's going to, when people either are watching live or watching the recording, it's going to make them want to stay on. I know if I watch a video, if I stay on, it's usually always because of something that they said in the beginning that makes me want to be like, oh, what is this? You know what I mean? Second, get animated and enthusiastic. I know I am very animated and enthusiastic. I was not always this way when I was a brand new coach. So you will get there as you build confidence. But you want to make sure you bring them on a journey with you. Whether you're on Facebook Live or you are in your caption, you want to make sure that you are kind of telling the story. And I'm going to show you guys examples, but you want to kind of bring them with you in whatever that you're explaining. If you're talking about the fact that you used to struggle with an eating disorder, or you really struggled with anxiety, you can tell them, make them feel exactly kind of what you felt, and bring them in and out of the journey with you. That's going to make them stay and read your content. If you're continuously doing this, they're always going to want to listen to your stories. Random little tip is using emojis, capital letters, spacing letters out. Like if you ever want to create emphasis, like, I'm like, I used to struggle. So I'll be like capital letters, S space, T space, R space, U space, G space, and spell it all out. That, again, when you're looking at the caption, if you click see more, that is so much, for me, it's so much more eye-catching. It makes me want to read it because it doesn't seem as much as like one big chunk. When I see one big chunk, I never read it, ever. Even if it could be the best story, I just never read it. So while telling the story is good and making people trust you will make people read it no matter how you space it out, getting people just first engaged with you, you have to do these little things like that. And it kind of also expresses emotion, because you can't read tone through your phone and through the text on your laptop. So doing those things, I know it takes the extra time. And honestly, this is what takes me a little bit longer. I also use the app called Cool Fonts Pro. You do have to pay for it, but it's really not that much. But it's Cool Fonts Pro, and it's a keyboard that you add to your keyboard. If you've ever seen my captions on Instagram, I use a bunch of really cool fonts and letters that makes your text change. And that's, again, something where you can create emphasis on words like struggle, whatever it is that you want to emphasize. Those are just really good ways you can do that. If you're live, please, my goodness, smile. It is someone's more likely to stick with you if you're smiling. If you look like you're miserable, no one's going to want to stay there, even if you're not miserable. I know everybody jokes resting bitch face, but you are in a business where your face sells. Doesn't mean you have to be perfect and have like lip injections and no wrinkles. I don't mean like that, but I mean, you have to at least smile. Like you have to. And I struggled with that in the beginning. So it's okay if you do, just make sure you're aware of it. Third, be authentic and vulnerable. Don't, just blow up this story or tell a story in your caption of Instagram and it's not true just to get people engaged. You have to make sure you're building trust with your audience and make it so they believe you. If you tell a story and then it just sounds so outrageous, people are going to be like, okay, that's a load of horse crap. You know what I mean? So never stretch the truth. Don't say things to be more exciting because people will definitely see right through that. When you're vulnerable about your shortcomings, about your struggles, about things that you're, struggling with, not only are people going to love it, not that they love your shortcomings, but when you think of a celebrity, and I hate that they have these, but it's such a perfect example. My mom used to read like the magazines and they would have like, celebrities are just like you. And they would show them like pushing their cart at the grocery store, drinking a smoothie. It's like, celebrities are just like you. They drink a smoothie. It's like, they're freaking human beings. But when you see a celebrity and they have like food on their mouth when they're like talking on camera, or they like do little things like that, you're like, oh my gosh, like they're just normal people too. So it's like that same kind of idea. When people follow you and you're vulnerable, even though it might make you uncomfortable and sick to your stomach, they are going to love that you're vulnerable. People love that more than anything. So you really have to make sure that is a part of your storytelling. I mean, it's really like the key of your storytelling, because a whole idea of something being really entertaining, and not entertaining like someone's laughing at it, but like, wow, this is inspiring, or this is making me laugh, or this is making me cry, or mad because I feel bad for that person or that thing that person did to them. You know what I mean? Like those are the things that really is just real and authentic, and just be yourself. If you're super weird and quirky, or you're really girly, or you're really sporty, whatever it is, embody that. You're going to push away the people that aren't like that, but that's okay. That's not who you want to attract. Fourth, have a structure to your story. And this is something I work on all the time. Don't just ramble. Know kind of somewhat of what you're speaking about. Make sure you have a beginning, middle, event. Because if you're kind of like telling your story, this is more so for like Facebook Live or Instagram stories. Caption, you wouldn't really do this because you're typing it out. But if you're on Instagram Live or Facebook Live or Instagram stories, and you kind of tell your story, and then you're like, oh wait, well this other thing happened, and then you kind of have to like backtrack. It's hard to follow, and people would just end up tuning you out. They skip past your story and they don't really care. So make sure you have that structure. I don't know what that S is. So I guess this didn't go either. Anyway, so we'll talk about story structures. So these are kind of ways that you can use to structure your stories. This is good for captions. This is good for Facebook Live. If you're not comfortable with Facebook Live, that's okay. So there's something called the 3-act structure. This is setup, confrontation, and resolution. So as you can see, setup is setting the scene, confrontation is presenting a problem, building tension, and resolution is resolving the problem. So for example, you can share, let's say you were going to share a fellow coach's story, or a fellow, maybe you have a challenger in your group, or even just somebody in your clean eating group. And you talk about, you introduce, this is Maggie. She came into our group and she was really struggling with staying accountable with her meal plans on the weekends. But now that she's been a part of this clean eating group, she killed it this weekend and stayed strong. And she, was that successful because of the accountability. Again, set up, confrontation, resolution. And a lot of these are all the same somewhat, but they have different rings to them. So then there's also the before, after, and bridge. So describing the world with problem A, imagining what it would be like if problem A was solved, and how to get there. So for example, if I were doing this, I could say something like, I used to struggle with living paycheck to paycheck every single day. And I really wanted to know what it would be like if I didn't have to do that. What would it feel like to not have to worry about living a paycheck to paycheck anymore? And I got there through coaching and explaining how. Another example. Number 3, having a problem, agitating the problem, and solving the problem. Now, a lot of this is used with like ads and marketing, but you can still use it in your captions and in your Facebook Lives or whatever you're doing. So what was I can never read my handwriting. Oh, okay. So like, let's say you talked about, in your caption, you were saying, have you ever struggled presenting the problem? Have you ever struggled with, being accountable to getting your workouts done? You always know you want to work out, but you run into the problem of traffic and weather driving to the gym, or something coming up, or just not feeling like doing it. Again, agitating the problem. I have a solution for you. If you've ever struggled with that, I have an 80-day group coming up on the 19th, and we really focus on giving you the tools that you need to make sure that you get your workout done. You will be held accountable, blah, 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 blah. Again, solving the problem. This is one of my favorites, because when you agitate the problem, you're talking about you talk about all the things that people are probably struggling with. You present the problem of let's say not having any money, and you agitate the problem of bills coming up and not having a second income and always being behind with, whatever it is. And you're agitating the problem and then giving them a solution with coaching, with whatever. For Simon Sinek, who is amazing, his golden circle structure is why, how, and what. So this would more so be used probably kind of like more so for coaching. You could definitely use it in any way, but kind of talking about, coaching, or maybe like a clean eating group or meditation. So you like, why does coaching exist? Or why do you have a free clean eating group? Kind of how you and your other coaches or the group itself feels, why it's there. Like the clean eating group is here because we know how hard it is to figure out a meal plan. With this group and with this program, Clean Week, we really help you figure out what the heck to eat, and we do it in a simple way. And then you talk about what it does to fulfill that why. And then last is Dave Lieber's V formula, which is to introduce character, bring the story to its lowest point, and turn it around with a happy ending. This is where you don't necessarily have to talk about your groups or coaching, whatever. This is where you can really use this formula a lot, just sharing whatever your story is. So telling your story about being vulnerable. So introducing the character, which can just be you, introducing you and where you were at some point, bringing the story to its lowest point. So I could talk about how introduce me, like insert Alexis circa 2012. I was living in LA and I just moved there with a guy I was dating, and everything seemed really freaking great. But about a month after we moved there, I ended up realizing that I was in an emotionally abusive relationship, which caused me to fall into depression. I developed 2 eating disorders, and I really just felt like there was no point in living anymore. But after a few months of finally breaking out of that emotionally abusive relationship, I stumbled upon coaching and met my coach, Lauren. And now, it's brought me to the point where I'm coaching today. Obviously, I would tell a way better story than that, but you get the idea. So use these things, take a screenshot of this, whatever it is. Next time you want to, and if you're like, okay, I don't really know what to think about, or like think about the things you want to share, and then take one of these structures and then just kind of create the story. And you can make notes and go Facebook Live about it. You can do an Instagram story series with it. You can make a caption about it. There's lots of different ways that you can use it. Maybe if you write a blog post, whatever you want to do. And then last is to have a reason and purpose of why you're sharing the story. Don't just share to share and it not really make any sense. You always, oh Jesus Christ, have mercy, you just scared the shit out of me. Sorry guys. Have a reason or purpose of why you're sharing the story. So when you're sharing something, whether you're Facebook Live or whether you're on Instagram, are you sharing an experience? Are you trying to make somebody laugh? Are you inspiring? Are you showing possibilities? So this is where you don't always have to just like share like the dark and dreary stuff. Like maybe you're sharing a workout video because you want to I try when I share workout videos not to just be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I either talk about, hey, I'm on day 22 and I feel freaking amazing. This is why I feel good. This is how I felt before. This is what I'm doing now. Or maybe I'm really just trying to be educational about it. So I'm like, okay, if you do these 3 moves, make sure you do them, two rounds, 15 reps each, blah, 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 blah. Again, that's not necessarily exactly sharing a story, but again, it at least has a purpose. So when you share something, and I'm going to share my examples in a second, make sure it has a purpose. And this is what's going to set you apart and make people stay. There are a lot of people that are just putting posts out there, and no one's really stopping because there's not anything valuable. It's just a video or the picture itself. you got to make that value. Okay, so ways to storytell. Facebook. Different ways to do this on Facebook. So write your entire story in a Facebook post. So again, people of New York do a really great job of this. They, whatever it is that you want to share, same thing that you might go Facebook Live with it, just share it in an entire Facebook post. Again, start it with something interesting, space out your paragraphs so people can read it, and then just share away. There was some study that was done that said, a lot of people think that you want short and sweet posts. And now obviously you don't want like a 75-page post every time you post on Facebook, but occasionally if you're throwing in maybe once a week a long Facebook post, they actually said that a lot of people clicked through the shorter posts, but always clicked the see more to see, whatever there was of the actual Facebook post. So don't always assume that long Facebook posts don't matter, because they do. Again, just not doing them all the time. Going Facebook Live, if you're not already doing that, get comfortable with it. You're gonna be awkward when you first do it. Don't let that stop you, because if you never do it because you're awkward, that means you're never gonna do it, which means you're never gonna be good at it, and you'll never be able to take advantage of that amazing platform that it is. And if you're not going Instagram Live, even I know I need to be going out more. Instagram and Facebook love live right now. That means if you feel like your stuff isn't getting seen, you have to go Instagram Live more. You have to go Facebook Live more. Share your cooking. Share something. And I always share like things that I'm experiencing. Whenever I read in my personal development book, and you guys, I'm giving this book away at the end of this, and make sure you stick around. If ever I'm reading something and I'm like, oh my God, that's so amazing, and it just speaks to me, I write down some notes and I just go immediately Facebook Live, and I just talk about it, like, just sharing it, because I know not everybody's going to sit down and read this book, and I want to give valuable content. You don't have to be an expert in it, but if you just read something awesome in your personal development book, share about it. It's really, really something that I try to use in my advantage. Also, this is something that I'm going to start doing. I don't have it yet. I know Amy Silverman does a great job of this. You can check out her Facebook if you want to. Create photo Facebook albums. So when someone goes to your page, if they click on albums, you can do, 80-day obsession pictures. Or maybe you are into like Danielle. She likes to go scuba diving with like these cool starfish and dolphins and shit. I don't know. She's like the Snow White of the ocean. She like does all these cool things. Like she could have like a Facebook album that was just like her scuba diving stuff. So when people go, they get to see a story of the things that you do that are about that category. You know what I mean? So that's not something I have whatsoever, but I've heard of people doing that before. It's just something that is on my to-do list now. And then make an actual Facebook video, not a YouTube link. Because if you could put a YouTube link in there, Facebook does not push out content that is that directs somebody to another page. It wants people to stay in Facebook. So make a Facebook video and save it to, your actual Facebook. Instagram, draw in with a picture and create a narrative with a caption. So that means with your pictures, you guys have to make sure that you are not posting blurry, dark lit pictures. That means don't take pictures of your food at nighttime. And I know that might be like, well, I want to share something. Take a picture of your food in the daytime and then you share it at night. But like Pat just brought me my dinner. I luckily have a Diva light, but I will a lot of times if I need a good picture and I'm like, okay, I really want this, I will walk so far up to my the brightest lamp in my house. I have the Diva light, but before that, like I'll walk up to the light. I'll try to I'll tell Pat to hold like a light over my food. Yes, it takes extra time, but if you want your stuff seen, you have to take that extra step, because there is so much out there in social media. That extra step is going to get your stuff seen. It's going to help you grow your business. It's going to be worth it. It has a return on investment. And then make sure that you're narrating your picture with the caption. Drawing, telling an interesting story, whatever it is. You can also tell a story with your grid. So for me, I have my Instagram in columns. So like I have videos all in one column. I pretty much have food in the other column. And then I have just stuff like about me. Now you do not have to do it like that, but you can have like white things and whatever. Like that's kind of like more of a visual story than necessarily an actual story. But people know if they come to my page, okay, this column has all, videos and her workout videos and her videos of her just talking. And like I already said, videos are really hot right now. So make sure that you're doing videos like on your actual Instagram. I swear, like I have a lot of videos like go somewhat viral because I do a lot of them. I do one almost every single day. Now, you don't have to do a workout. Find different ways that you can share. Think about the things that you like talking about. Like, I like talking about meditations and affirmations, so sometimes I just talk about those things. Sometimes I talk about my personal development, and make sure you're using stories. Okay. Okay, that's it. I just want to show you guys some posts, and then I will let you go. So thanks for hanging in with me. And somebody make sure that they type in the chat box so I don't forget to get rid of to give away this book. So these are going to take a second to load. While I'm waiting for these to load, I'm going to open all of these. I loaded all of them. They were all ready. So something you can do with your Instagram is starting it with a caption, or starting it with a question. This was something I was talking to coaches about the other day, was that if you're like, a lot of coaches will ask a question at the end of their post, but a lot of times I'll start it with a question because it's the first thing people see, and I want them to comment. So like, comment below if you agree with this, or comment below if you've ever done this, or whatever my post is about, because people love giving their feedback. And if you do that, more people comment, it boosts your engagement. Okay, so wait, I'm looking for one that's not so hot. I had some, okay, so well, I can't find the one I'm looking for, but for example, sometimes I can see, like, let's say you got a sweatshirt. Like, we're going to do team shirts. I'm working on them right now. I'm going to be posting stuff about them in the team page. But like, you got a team sweatshirt. A lot of times I could see coaches would just share the shirt and be like, love my team, just got new team shirts. And like, that's it. But you have to find the opportunity, or find the story and the opportunity of this post. So I got these when we had team sweatshirts last year. We had those, and I shared about, to think that 4 years ago, before I even knew what Beachbody coaching was, I was depressed, blah, blah, blah. And I talked about like where I was a few years ago, and then how cool it is that I have, a team shirt. Now, obviously, you didn't make the team shirt, you didn't make team confidence, but there's things like that. So when you share, a food or something about your team, make sure you're telling a story and not just a super brief caption to get it up there. This is kind of more video storytelling. And I know not everybody's significant other wants to work out with them, but I am sharing on my page that, hey, I do, work out with my boyfriend. I have my little family. Maybe you share a workout video of you when your little baby is laying. Like, I always see those videos of like the mom laying over their baby doing yoga. Like, those things are so cute. Those are like visual storytelling, with, your family and things like that. I just talked about like the little things that we were doing. And again, it's not always like this deep, super serious like storytelling. Sometimes it's just like little breadcrumb storytelling. This was me comparing my shuffling. You guys know I shuffle, like my little dancing, whatever. And I compared like how I used to be to how I am now. Again, just sharing. When you share your before and afters, sometimes I do just do quotes, but always finding ways to not just do the physical transformations, but other ways that maybe your life has changed up until now, always using those opportunities for storytelling. So making sure that, like, I talked about how like my PCOS doesn't find me, anxiety doesn't find me, ADHD does not define me. Always talking about, the vulnerable things. And this is something where I could have put this in the beginning of the caption. Again, not everybody's always going to read those. But I got a lot of likes and a lot of comments. I care about the likes and comments. But again, because I was vulnerable. These vulnerable posts get so much more interaction than the other ones. There's some other ones I wanted to share. Why did I share this? Oh, so this was something that's more of like a small thing. So over a course of a certain amount of time, I was sharing my journey of going through Core de Force and starting a 3-day refresh. So yes, this doesn't have a super long caption, but I was more so telling a story with my recent posts. So I was talking about it in my Instagram stories, and then talking about it in my posts. And I was talking about how I'm doing a 3-day refresh. Like right now in my post, I'm talking about day 20, day 21, day 22. Again, taking people on a journey with you and not just kind of randomly posting what you're doing. I am taking people on a serious journey with me right now through 80-day obsession. I am sharing every single day, maybe not on my page, but on my Instagram story. So sometimes you might go share day 20 on your, like, this is usually what I do. I share day 20 on my Instagram page, but I share day 21 in my Instagram story. And then just share day 22 on my page and 23 on my Instagram story. So I go back and forth. So you're not saturating your page, but you can saturate your Instagram story all you want. There is not too many times to post. If someone doesn't want to look through it, they're not going to look through it, but it's just share. I think there's only a few more. I don't really know why I shared that. Okay, this was me talking about, again, starting it with something that was, maybe something somebody wouldn't know about you. That's another thing you could start it with, like fact, like I was talking about, true story, talking about something that somebody's going to be like, okay, well, what else is there to this? Like, a lot of people might not know that how I am now. I used to hate taking selfies. And again, if you're brand new to your journey and you're like, well, I haven't even like progressed yet, you will find ways to do this. Just keeping an eye on the things that you're, growing with and whatnot. Okay. So I think I don't want to keep you guys on here too much longer. Okay, this was a short version of a story. Again, not always needing to do a full super long story. I did one of those structures. So I went to, this was a free trip that I went on to Beachbody. I kind of talked about how I was meditating on the roof of our Airbnb. I got time to myself. I never used to like having time to myself, but I'm learning to love it. And then I talk about, the beautiful thing is having this job, blah, 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 blah. Again, short little story, but still telling a story. And then this was one of my recent posts talking about how again, just a selfie. Selfies always draw people in for the most part. And I started the caption with empty room, empty office. Like, again, that's going to draw people in. They're like, empty room? What does that mean? Empty office? What does that mean? They want to read more. Then I talk about the laughter and the tears and all the stuff that I've done in the past 2 years of living there. I talk about, how I've grown and what's going on today. So that's pretty much it. Some of the really quick little tips that I had was, I talk about this all the time, but I really can't express how much it helps, is that you're geotagging, not only in your Instagram pictures, but geotagging and using hashtags in your stories. I have gotten so many people recently who have found me by finding my Instagram stories through a hashtag. I add a geotag, the little location tag, to almost every single Instagram story. So if I have 30 Instagram stories, there's a location on almost every single one of them. And I do it and I hide it behind text. I'll put Austin, Denver, New York. Like, I think of the places of people that like are my kind of people, like Brooklyn, Denver, like people that are my kind of people. And I just randomly put those in there and people can randomly find me. If you're only geotagging like 1 or 2 Instagram stories, you really have to put in that extra work to get your stuff seen. Another thing is asking questions in the comments of your post. So once you have a caption, if someone responds in your captions, whatever you said, ask them another question. They're going to respond again and create dialogue in your comments. The more comments you have, the higher your affinity score. You could have just a dialogue between you and the other person, but it creates more, things going on in your comments. Also asking people to tag, again, first tagline, saying tag your bestie if they agree with this, or tag 3 people who you think would think this is funny. Whatever it is that you're sharing, obviously you have to connect it. What else? Also using the highlights. Jatana Jackson does a great job of this. I've been trying to remember, but I keep forgetting. Super, super cool. Go to her Instagram after this and check her out. Jatana Jackson, Jatana Jackson. When she does her highlights, those highlights at the top of an Instagram, she creates like a graphic and then puts it in her Instagram story and then makes that, because when you add like a bunch of things to one highlight, you can see it in like her highlight, and it's almost like the cover photo is an actual like legit cover photo versus like just you still like with your face all messed up. So she does that. She just did a beautiful job of that. I was like, oh my God, that's super genius. Not that you always have to make everything fancy, but if you're into that kind of thing, you do that. I'm gonna read the chat in a second. I think I only have one more thing. Oh, and shout outs. So if it doesn't vibe with your Instagram page to do shout outs, I've been doing a lot of shout outs on Friday. So on Friday, I'll do like Feature Friday, and I'll shout out 5 girls that are coach prospects of mine. And I'm like, oh my God, check these girls out. They're killing it. And they usually message me like, oh my God, you're so sweet. And then I just like kind of create some more, conversation. But shouting out people that you are coach prospecting or you want to join your team, I shout them out all the time. There's this girl I've been shouting out like 500 times and she doesn't want to join my team, but I want her to so bad. I have her phone number. We Snapchat each other. We talk all the time. She's not ready yet. She doesn't know, but she's going to join my team. Okay, so that's about it. So let me read the chat box really quick, and then I will do this giveaway. So while I'm reading the chat box, I'll pick a number 1 through 50. You have to hit it without going over, and you will win the Judgment Detox. I'm reading it right now. I'm listening to the audiobook, and it's amazing. But let me read through these chats. Haley Christian is the reason I started talking on my Instagram stories every day. Yeah, she is like a fireball. She is like no F's given whatsoever. She's straight up Boston for real. I want to be here. I'm jealous of her vacation right now. I don't follow her. I don't know what vacation she's on, but I'm sure it's awesome. I'm typing my notes first and do the same. Usually works every time. Yeah, I know a lot of people do that. I don't know what it is, but just hitting enter and putting the period usually works. How do I get those fun fonts? It was, or let me share my screen with you really quick. And then I'll check applications. Okay. Screen mirroring. Ha. Okay, so it's this app. It's Cool Fonts Pro. There it was. So it's this app here, Cool Fonts Pro, but it adds it to your keyboard. So when I go to my Instagram, and I use it to like message people too, but like let's say I was gonna make a post. I'm actually gonna make this a post, not right now, but later. So all you do is you hit the little world, the bottom, and it brings up Cool Fonts Pro, and it's amazing. There's so many cool fonts. Like they're so awesome, and they all show up. I use them sometimes in my Instagram stories. I show them there, but like that's what it is. I believe you do have to pay for it, but you pay for it once and it's done, and it's amazing. So that's how I get those fonts. But I want to show you guys just because I have it up here, Jatana Jackson, what I was talking about. Like her highlights. Something I want to do that is so genius. She has Coach Life. And this is stuff that she's been posting for forever. So like her Coach Life, 8 weeks ago, but it's everything that she's done that's been like a coach themed thing. If she's hung out with her team, or what she does every single day while she's doing her Coach Life. 8 weeks. Like this was when she was working out with her coach. She went to the store with her coaches, Christmas stuff. She hung out with her team. Like this is stuff because your highlights stay and save forever. How cool is that? So you could have an entire category. It's like almost like a photo album of like somebody comes to your page and they can constantly see every time you're updating stuff. And if they've been following you and they possibly want to be a coach, they're going to look at your Coach Life thing and constantly always be looking at it. I saw that and I was like, that is genius. So that is something that I'm working on. I am losing my voice while I'm talking on this call. Okay. I know this call is going a little bit long, guys. I know somebody asked a question. People love videos with other people in them. Yes, Danny, agreed 1,000 times over. What is that? Gary talks about that, including characters. He talks about that in Jab, 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 Right Hook, I think. Including characters in your content, like repeat characters. So if your mom like is really, like my mom's like curses like a sailor. She's not in my videos, but I would love to put her in there more. But like Ned or your spouse, or if you have like a super funny like grandma, like people love that stuff. That's what they will come back to. What else? Random question. Is that an Ellen jacket? Yeah. Me and my sister actually won like tickets to go see Ellen, and my mom like hugged her. It was like the craziest thing ever. She's like the coolest person. Okay. So looking at the numbers, let me look at everybody's. Oh, Katie, you hit it on the head. It was 42 was the number. So you win. Go, Katie. Message me your address, and I still have a ton of stuff to send out to people. But after almost chopping my finger off, like, no excuses, but like, I've been a hot mess not getting to the post office. I need to like hire someone to just go to the post office for me. Brooke said, do you have a list of ideas for Feature Friday, Women Crush Wednesday motivation ideas? I don't have a list, but I do think that consistently doing those things is really beneficial to your social media, especially for people that follow you. They're going to always come back and see what you're doing, see what you're sharing. If you always do like a motivation Monday, or like for me, I do like quotes with Ned. If you see my Instagram story where I do a boomerang of Ned, some weird face that he's making, some grumpy face, and I literally just go to my quotes app and do quotes, and people love it. Like people all the time, they're like, thanks Ned. Like they'll like message me like, thanks Ned, thanks for the inspiration. Like people love those. It's Shalene always talks about it, but it's like those staples that you have, whatever that may be. And that can be anything for you. It can be something with your kids. Maybe your kid like hates eating veggies, and every time you eat veggies, you recorded eating veggies, and like people will eat that stuff up. But creating those staples, really, that's another kind of way to storytell. You're just storytelling in your own little way. So awesome. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Hopefully you found this helpful. Thursday, there's going to be a power hour. Check the calendar because I don't remember the time off the top of my head, but hopefully you'll join me to get some work done. We can get out some invites and chat with a bunch of people. Peace out, everybody. Love you guys.